So this is my response to the prompt. Um, so first, starting off, how adult relationships are impacted by a child's upbringing. I think this video captures very well the way that our relationships as children, the ones that we formulate with our parents, um, are a reflection or become reflected, as suggested by Freud, in our adult relationships. Often we try to either, um, as suggested again by Freud, we try to pick someone that is similar to our parents, or we try to create corrective experiences by finding partners that are similar to our parents, and we try to fix whatever discrepancies there were in our childhoods with this person as an adult. Um, I think that the video connects very well to the readings that we did this week. For example, as stated by Badley, the attachments we form in childhood become the foundation of our personality. I think this video does a good job of pointing out how if we grow up in a very supportive, loving, caring environment, we often develop the self confidence, self awareness, self esteem that we need to function healthily as adults. Um, I think it also relates well to the strange situation experiment. Um, that echoes that what is shown it that also echoes what is shown in the video. So children who don't form secure attachments have a limited capacity for emotional regulation, and these consequences don't go away with age, right? They stay with us and they become reflected in the relationships we form and the way that we behave as adults. um, they retain their ability, so to speak, to impact later stages of life, leading to greater levels of anxiety, a poor sense of self, and poor self-esteem. I think it also related well to the Minnesota longitudinal study of risk adaptation that also showed, like the video, that secure attachments formed in early childhood lead to greater self-agency, and emotional regulation and higher self-esteem. Um, for those with adverse childhood experiences or childhoods where they form these very weak attachments with their parental figure, um, like the video suggested, like Alan Stroff suggested as well, it doesn't mean that this has to be their destiny, though I think Alan Stroff, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, is more optimistic in his approach and his view. And like the basic assumptions in Freud's theories for psychodynamic theories as well, that you can form corrective experiences. You can help heal those past experiences through the therapeutic process, through the helping process. Um, so ideally, a person would want to have a counselor who would help them via psychodynamic theory or therapy. And through the helping process, a counselor would be able to help a person uncover the root of their abnormal reactions and destructive behavior, such as anxiety, self-sabotage, self-hatred, and provide insight into these behaviors by helping them pinpoint, well, this is coming from your childhood, this is coming because of, you didn't form a secure attachment with your mom, or you had a poor experience with your mom or your father. Um, you weren't loved enough, or you weren't cared for enough, or you weren't encouraged enough, and would help that person formulate corrective experiences. Like the video said, again, the video takes more of a a do-it-yourself DIY approach to forming these corrective experiences. Though I think it would be better to do with a therapist, someone who would be able to take an objective point of view, not like in described in the book where it's, a deadpan face type of approach, but someone who would be able to objectively listen to someone else and be able to let them know and be able to provide that feedback provide that objective third party feedback. I think that would help that person make more progress. Um, I do have some critique of this video and the readings that we did in general this week, where it took a psychodynamic approach. I think psychodynamic theory is very useful for when a person has to do that inner work, right? To figure out, to have that closure of why do I feel this way? Where are these feelings come from? And it helps in a certain sense. Whilst the book does state it can lead sometimes to victim blaming, right, because the person is not adapting to their environment. So it's you who's doing this. It's you're not. There's something wrong with you, that you formulated these reactions or these behaviors as a response. But I think psychodynamic theory can be good for helping a person understand their own reactions and why they act a certain way and what could have caused them to formulate those reactions in the first place, by looking at their childhood experiences and helping them gain insight on their childhood experiences, and to evaluate where those behaviors and those thought processes started and where they came from. I do think it does a poor job of looking at the social factors that could impact a person and their reasons for developing certain behavioral patterns, but also the cycle that children and generations can get stuck in. Like mentioned in the video, right? If you fix these issues you have, then you can prevent from passing it on to your children. And Alan Strauss also mentions that, right? You can break these generational cycles. And again, he's much more optimistic about being able to not having these childhood experiences not being your destiny. And I think psychodynamic theory, though, sometimes does a poor job of acknowledging the social factors. Why did the parents act that way? Were they reacting to the social pressures in their environment? Were they reliving their own cycles? What was happening there that caused the parents to react in a certain way, where they were not securing these attachments? They weren't forming these secure attachments with their children. So I think that psychodynamic theory, while it's good for doing that individual work, I think it's not as useful for taking a step back and looking at the larger picture of what is happening here, that this is, such a prominent story, so to say, right? I think it does a poor job of swimming upstream to the problem. What is happening here that we're seeing this so often? Because we do see a lot of people with adverse experiences, and they do cultivate certain behavioral problems that don't make them function well in our current society. The way that our rules and morals and values are, say this is how you have to act now because this is the society that you live in. So I would say that's my main critique with psychodynamic theory, but I do think that it has its uses, especially for helping someone kind of take a inner look and see that, I'm not innately a certain way. I form these responses because of A and B. I think the video related well to our readings this week. I greatly enjoyed kind of seeing it briefly summarized in about a 3-minute clip, a lot of the theories that we had studied, and a lot of the ideas that we had studied this week. And I thought I did a good job of encapsulating everything. But again, my main critique with psychodynamic theory is that it ignores the social environment and social factors that impact individuals. And I think it becomes more complicated, especially when you start considering different ethnic minorities and different cultures as well, because I do think it takes a very Western Eurocentric approach. So thank you.